Hi, class. I hope you're having a really great week. We're wrapping up our semester by reading Junot Diaz's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Now, Diaz and his characters are Dominican American, so I freely admit that including his work in this course is a deliberately provocative choice. We're reading this novel in this particular course because I think it helps to get at where I see the energy of contemporary African American literature, specifically what's been called the international or transnational turn in African American literature. The roots of the transnational turn are numerous, but we can certainly trace some of its roots back to the interest during the 1920s and the 1960s in gestures for connection between African American and African cultures. During the 1990s, literary critics such as Paul Gilroy began to reconceptualize the cultures of African descendant peoples from the perspective of what he called Black transatlantic culture, a concept that came out of the realization of the really profound impact that exchanges among these groups had on what had heretofore really been looked at only along the lines of national cultures or national boundaries. It meant, for example, that texts by African Americans were read in their national context, but also in terms of the connections between, for example, the writing and religious practices of African American people and people of Caribbean descent, or Black people in Great Britain. Well, one of the other related concepts that you really need to put into your toolbox is that of the African diaspora. Diaspora really literally just means a scattering. Originally used to refer to the scattering of the Jews across national boundaries, the concept has really been appropriated by cultural critics, examining the dispersion of people of African descent to North America, the Caribbean, and Europe, for example, after they passed through the crucible of the Middle Passage. Part of the work of conceiving of people of African descent through the lens of these two concepts is really in recovering connections between these multiple groups. That's one of the perspectives that I want you to take when you're reading this novel. You need to be asking yourself questions and thinking back over the course of the semester. What makes this a novel of the African diaspora? Specifically, what connections do you see between this work and the other works we've been reading? What impact does African American culture have on the protagonist slash protagonists of this novel? Because arguably there's more than one. You could also productively read this novel as being post-colonial and postmodern. The post-colonial novel imagines the lives of its characters in the aftermath of European colonialism and in the midst of American neo-colonialism, in some cases. Characters grapple with the continuing impact of having been colonized by foreign powers, usually European, and the way that colonization has shaped and deformed aspects of their lives, things as various as language, religion, politics, the family, gender relations, you name it. The history of the Dominican Republic really looms large in this novel, especially in terms of the way that it draws connections between the European oppression of the island and the homegrown dictatorship of Rafael Trujillo. How the characters work through or are overwhelmed by political and more intimate oppression is an important element of the novel as a result, and it's one I want you to be focusing on as you do your reading. This is also a post-colonial novel in that it confronts what it means to leave one's home in flight from oppression, to go into exile in America, and to engage in a back and forth movement between the homeland and the U.S. That's very typical of contemporary post-colonial literature. The novel also works as a postmodern novel. Postmodernism is appropriately a rather slippery term. Postmodern works typically reject the idea of truth with a capital T, and they tend to instead embrace ambiguity. Postmodernist writers tend to embrace the idea that experience or consciousness is socially, psychologically, and linguistically constructed. Postmodernist writing also is characterized by a certain playfulness and iconoclasm in terms of the way writers approach language and literary conventions. There are numerous postmodernist elements to the novel, but the ones that really stick out to me are the use of multiple voices in the novel, for example. You'll notice that the narrative voice in the novel is never really given, ultimate authority over telling the story. when you get into those first couple of pages, for example, you'll notice that there are these huge footnotes that almost overwhelm the regular words on the page, and that sometimes these footnotes contradict or kind of push back against some of what the narrative voice is saying. So that refusal to grant authority to one voice, very typical of postmodernism. The novel also has several endings, and so it rejects the literary convention of narrative closure, which we tend to associate with traditional Western writing. Diaz also makes a very typical postmodernist move in having the Marvel Comics universe feature so heavily as a source for important metaphors, narrative structure, and the worldview of the titular character, Oscar Wilde. So those are just some of the ways that the novel is postmodern. I'm sure you'll find more. We're going to be reading this novel for about 2 weeks. I want you to enjoy your reading, and I look forward to seeing your posts on the discussion board.